What if I told you a plane took off in 1955, and landed 37 years later, with its passengers thinking only hours had passed? Sounds like a sci-fi movie, right? But this isn't fiction, at least, not for the thousands who believe in the mystery of Flight 914. Was it a time-traveling jet, a government cover-up, or just one of the greatest hoaxes ever written? Buckle up, because today we're diving deep into the strange, fascinating, and completely bizarre story of airplane Flight 914. The Flight 914 legend had its start in a phony article in the American tabloid Weekly World News, a newspaper renowned for sensational and completely made-up articles. The publication, operating from the 1980s to the present, routinely published ridiculous headlines like "Alien Supports President" or "Bat Boy Discovered in Cave," combining satire with supernatural assertions. The earliest reported article relating to Flight 914 was published in 1985, with a headline, "Plane Lands After 37 Years Missing," complete with a staged photo of an old plane on a new runway. The newspaper wrote of a Pan Am DC-4 airliner disappearing in 1955 and mysteriously reappearing in Venezuela in 1992. It even had a purported interview with the air traffic controller who saw it return. In spite of its sensational tone, the article was never meant to be believed, but readers tended to get it wrong. The same tale was published several times, most notably in 1993 and 1999, with minor details altered to create the illusion of being updated. Eventually, online blogs, conspiracy websites, and soon YouTube channels adopted it, usually without the satirical context, leading to many assuming that it was an actual, unexplained case. According to the legend, Pan Am Flight 914 took off from New York to Miami on July 2, 1955, carrying 57 passengers and 6 crew members. Mid-flight, the plane vanished without a trace, only to reappear 37 years later on September 9, 1992, landing in Caracas, Venezuela. The story claims that the passengers and crew were unaware of the passage of time, still dressed in 1950s attire. Before authorities could investigate further, the plane allegedly took off again and disappeared forever. The Flight 914 myth gained traction in the 1980s and 1990s through tabloids, which often recycled old conspiracy theories. By the 2000s, the story found new life on early internet forums, creepypasta websites, and YouTube documentaries. Today, it circulates on social media platforms like TikTok, where it is often presented as an unsolved mystery, without critical scrutiny. The lack of fact-checking in these spaces has allowed the legend to endure. Several factors contributed to the story's lasting appeal: sensationalism. The idea of a time-traveling plane taps into fascination with the Bermuda Triangle, government cover-ups, and supernatural phenomena. Media recycling. Tabloids and clickbait websites republished the tale without verification, making it seem more credible over time. Cultural fascination. People are drawn to unsolved aviation mysteries, like MH370 or Amelia Earhart, and Flight 914 fits neatly into this category. While the story is fictional, it has some positive aspects: entertainment value. The tale is an engaging, spooky mystery that sparks imagination and discussion. Encourages curiosity. It prompts people to research real aviation history and question how myths develop. However, there are significant downsides. No evidence exists. There are no official records of this flight in FAA, Pan Am, or aviation accident databases. Historical inaccuracies. Pan Am did not operate domestic flights like New York to Miami in 1955. Misinformation risk. Presenting fiction as fact can distort public understanding of real aviation mysteries. However, there are significant downsides. No evidence exists. There are no official records of this flight in FAA, Pan Am, or aviation accident databases. Historical inaccuracies. Pan Am did not operate domestic flights like New York to Miami in 1955. Misinformation risk. Presenting fiction as fact can distort public understanding of real aviation mysteries. The enduring belief in the myth of Flight 914 can be attributed to a complex interplay of psychological, social, and media-related factors that exploit fundamental aspects of human cognition and curiosity. At its core, the story taps into a deep-seated fascination with the unknown and the inexplicable, offering a tantalizing narrative that defies conventional understanding. The idea of a commercial airliner vanishing without a trace only to reappear decades later, seemingly untouched by time, resonates with our collective intrigue about the boundaries of reality. This narrative aligns with other well-known mysteries, such as the Bermuda Triangle or the unexplained disappearance of Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, reinforcing a cultural predisposition to entertain extraordinary explanations for perplexing events. The absence of a definitive resolution, where the plane allegedly takes off again before authorities can investigate, leaves the story open-ended, allowing imaginations to flourish and speculation to persist unchecked. Another critical factor in the perpetuation of the Flight 914 legend is the phenomenon of confirmation bias, where individuals selectively accept information that aligns with their pre-existing beliefs while dismissing contradictory evidence. Those already inclined to believe in government cover-ups, extraterrestrial interventions, or time anomalies find the story compelling because it appears to validate their worldview. For such audiences, the lack of official documentation or credible records is not seen as proof of the story's falsity but rather as evidence of a deliberate suppression of the truth. This cognitive bias is further reinforced by the echo chambers of social media and online forums, where like-minded individuals share and amplify the narrative without critical scrutiny. Over time, repeated exposure to the story in these spaces lends it an air of credibility, making it increasingly difficult for believers to question its validity. The role of media, both traditional and digital, cannot be overstated in the spread and persistence of the Flight 914 myth. Sensationalist tabloids like Weekly World News originally popularized the tale in the 1980s and 1990s, presenting it as a factual account despite its fictional origins. Finally, the Flight 914 legend persists because it fulfills a psychological need for wonder and escapism in an increasingly explainable world. In an era where science and technology have demystified many natural phenomena, stories like this offer a temporary retreat into a realm where anything seems possible. They provide a sense of mystery and excitement that contrasts with the mundane realities of everyday life. For some, the story is simply a form of entertainment, a modern-day campfire tale, while for others, it represents a deeper yearning for evidence that the world is stranger and more mysterious than it appears. Regardless of the reasons, the Flight 914 myth endures as a testament to the power of storytelling and the human mind's capacity to believe in the extraordinary, even in the face of overwhelming evidence to the contrary. #Final verdict, a persistent urban legend. The story of Flight 914 is a classic example of how urban legends take root and flourish in the public imagination, despite being entirely fictional. Its staying power lies in its masterful blending of mystery, nostalgia, and conspiracy, elements that resonate deeply with human psychology. While the tale has been repeatedly debunked by aviation experts, historians, and fact-checkers, it continues to circulate because it offers something more valuable than truth: a compelling narrative that feels just plausible enough to be tantalizing. At its core, the Flight 914 myth is a modern folktale, one that adapts to new mediums and audiences with remarkable resilience. Originally born in the pages of sensationalist tabloids, it has since migrated to online forums, YouTube documentaries, and social media, where it is repackaged for generations hungry for unexplained mysteries. Unlike verifiable historical events, this story thrives on ambiguity and lack of closure, allowing each retelling to add new layers of intrigue. Yet, the persistence of this legend also serves as a cautionary tale about misinformation in the digital age. The same mechanisms that keep Flight 914 alive, **** algorithmic amplification, confirmation bias, and the allure of the uncanny ****, are the same ones that fuel more dangerous conspiracy theories. While harmless on its own, the story exemplifies how easily fiction can be mistaken for fact when presented with enough dramatic flair. In the end, Flight 914 is not a mystery to be solved, but a cultural artifact to be studied. It reveals less about aviation history and more about why humans are so drawn to stories that defy explanation. For those seeking real enigmas, there are plenty of documented aviation oddities, but this isn't one of them. The plane never existed, the events never happened, and the only place Flight 914 ever truly traveled was into the realm of myth.